right, y'all. Welcome to another edition of RSG ONE MIC. Before I kick it off, I want to make sure everybody goes over to realsportsguys.com. We got some stuff that we posted. We just have an interview with John Wetzel, former assistant with the Sacramento Kings. Here we go. He got me up here, jumping up here with the Sacramento Kings, as well as the Portland Trail Blazers. The stories he's talking about, Terry Porter. He got a Terry Porter. We got enough Wisconsin cats here. He talked about time with Terry Porter, talked about that team with C-Webb, even talked about what was going on in the locker room after Big Shot Rob hit that shot. He broke it down, what was happening in the locker room. So there's a lot of good stuff happening here. Check it out. But we're going to get down. This episode is about Can't Trust It. And we cannot do it. For you long-time RSG heads, it's official. It's official. We couldn't do this topic tonight without the man, the originator, coming in. We got the game changer, Marques Flowers, in the building. What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm just glad to be back, man. You know, just glad to be kicking and surviving the pandemic. You know how I be.
I know you ain't wearing that mask. I feel like I have talked to you since we had to go underground. I was like,
I'm telling you,
hunker down.
Underground like the Ninja Turtles, man.
So we're going to have a game changer with us tonight. It's going to be on fire. We got a lot of good stuff as well. And then we got the regulars here on One Mic. But before I tell you, though, you got to go check out the game changer in Say Cool. They killing it on Hustle and Flow, man. Y'all doing y'all thing. Go to realsportsguys.com and also go to Blog Talk Radio. These cats on our platform there, they're killing it with that. And we're gonna keep pushing that stuff out. They're doing some incredible work. So you got to check out. Marques is finding his way. Every once in a while, he comes in like a specialist, hits a three, and then he goes right back down in the hole.
Right back to the bench.
Right back to the base.
Greg Hodges out here.
That's it. That's what we got him right now. He was 3-and-D. He was 3-and-D when we started. But he's like, I'm just a specialist right now.
Dashiki under the jersey and everything.
And we got my man, the Hammer. Now, Hammer, like in the witness protection program, I don't know. Every once in a while you come in, you're lighting, everything else, but we're going to make it work tonight. But he's my man, though. He's my man. How you doing, Ham?
I'm blessed and highly favored, man. Doing well. So, and great to see Marques, Game Changer, because I haven't seen him in years. So, I see him on Facebook. That's social media. But I'm happy for you, brother, what you're doing at Madison West and what you're doing in the community. Proud of you, brother.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, Marques is building if y'all need to go to Madison Memorial, check it out. He's building a tidal wave. I don't even want to call it whatever we're gonna call it. I saw it coming, and now he's building. Now somebody gonna come out with something because he's building it too strong. He's building it too strong right now. So I'm glad we're gonna talk about that. We want to dip into that a little bit more, but we got to have you Hamp in there. Then we got the youngin, Darnell Kirkland Jr. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I feel what Marques is saying, man. I took my mask off and it feels great. I had that mask on all day, man. That's what happens when you working. Like the grind don't stop. You get up, go to work. After work, you train your kids for football, and then after that, it's time to coach lacrosse. I mean, it don't stop. But hey, I rather like the Bible say, if you don't work, you don't eat. And big man got to eat.
I know you got to eat because your daddy gonna make sure you working to eat. That's why we call him senior. Good to know. All right, we're gonna get into the open mic, and in this segment, I'm gonna have the fellas talk about what's going on their back page. Like, what's that title? What's that? What is in sports that if they had to put that out tomorrow, they'd have that on their back page. It's those topics that are front of mind for them in the world of sports. Let me start with Hamp because I know Hamp got some things that would be on his back page.
Yeah, the tragedy of Deshaun Watson and the debacle of the Chicago Bears.
Now we can talk. We'll get. We got Marques here, so we'll get to the debacle of the Chicago. Even though he hasn't been, Marques has boycotted football, but he knows enough that the Chicago Bears are a debacle, even though he's from Chicago.
That ain't changed.
Shy too. That ain't changed. Yeah.
That ain't changed.
Deshaun Watson, I mean, my goodness. I mean, over a short period of time, what's happened here and the victims, our thoughts and prayers go out. But this situation as it's unfolding, and we definitely gonna have to pay attention to it. But it is every day there seems like there's something new coming out about that. I would think that we all would probably have that at front and center and seeing, what's going to happen as this situation moves forward. Darnell, on your back page, what would you have on your back page? What's there for you?
Alabama Pro Day. It was today. And you saw, like I was saying to you guys earlier, you saw the culture in full effect. Najee Harris wasn't even working out today at the Pro Day, but his flight was canceled, and he decided. A lot of guys would say, man, I wish I could be there, but hey, I'm with y'all in spirit. But nah, he drove 9 hours to be there with his teammates. So you just saw the culture there. You saw Patrick Surtain. He ran a 4.42, unofficial. You got to be. You got to take the the pro day times with a grain of salt. But if that's a true 4.4, mid 4.4s, it's a great sign for him. When he saw Alex Leatherwood, he is way more athletic than I thought. I saw him he jumped. He had like a 34-inch vertical, which is only 5 inches off of Surtain. Surtain jumped 39, and Leatherwood, this is a big old tackle. He's like maybe like 6'6", 6'5", 340. That's Deontay Brown. My fault. So he's up there in weight as well. He's a bigger dude, but he jumped 34. He had 34 inch vert. His broad jump was up there too. He showed great explosiveness. And Landon Dickinson was out there snapping it to Mac Jones, and Mac Jones. The name of his game is accuracy, so he was going to show out. But yeah, it was a good showing for Alabama. I'm
surprised you didn't say anything about Pitts. Didn't he run like a faux?
Oh my God! I was talking about the Alabama Pro Day, but
I know, but
he ran 4.46. That's a 6'6", 240 tight end, man. That's impressive.
I just look at the video. I'm like, I don't want no parts of you.
Yeah, he was moving
at all.
If we talk about Pro Day as a whole, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Rondale Moore. This guy is a certified freak athlete. He's putting on for all of us short kings out there, man. He's fine. He jumped 42 and a half. He had a 42 and a half inch vertical. He is the definition of like an explosive athlete. You saw him against Ohio State in 2019. You just show what he can do with the ball in his hands. He's a special guy.
And Gamechanger. I know you probably got a rich back page up there. You probably got a couple things happening on your back page. What you gonna have on your back page?
Well, man, I'm with the tournament happening. Mark Emmert has always been public enemy number one in my career, man. And that dude stay on my hit list. He stay on my can't trust it list. And so just the way they did the women with the NCAAs, man.
Oh my goodness.
Come on now. Like, the money, it ain't even the WNBA, NBA situation where it's about revenue. The NCAA gets all the revenue. So split it up a little bit, like 60-40.
Yes.
I mean, like they was like 85-15 out there, and that ain't cool. Like I get it. Like, but can we get to a 60-40 or 55-45 type of situation? But yeah, man, it was kind of that's kind of been on my back page, man. Just watching the discrepancies and just, I mean, they gave them one rack of weights and some yoga mats. I was like, get y'all lift on, man. It's 2021, man. After everything everybody's been through, man, they should have known better. They need to be slapped. That whole office need to be slapped, and Mark Emery gonna come out talking about he's finna look into it. Ooh, we all scared. Mark finna look into it.
I gotta say something about that. If we're bringing revenue into the situation, you gotta pay the players. Then if you're saying,
that's what I'm saying,
they're bringing in the money so they get the amenities, but you gotta pay them. Then
that's what I'm saying. And if we talking revenue, you know what I'm saying? Like some of them 16 seeds ain't bringing in no bread.
Yes.
They still get the benefit, right? So we can't act like that. All the men's teams is caking out. All right, we can't pretend that all of them is bringing in some bread. We know it's only like 5 or 6 athletic departments in the black in the whole country.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's a handful of athletic departments in the whole country that's in the black. Everybody else is operating in the red. So let's not pretend like this is, something that it ain't. And, also the withholding of the March Madness moniker or branding apparatus from the women's tournament. That's just man. Like, come on, get off that. Get off that, man. Get off that. Like, just move with equality, move with some equity, and ain't nobody gonna say nothing. And then people let it be what it be from there.
Yes. That's why I appreciate what my young man Livers did. That's why I appreciate him wearing the shirt. I appreciate, Juwan was all about that because that's what they're about. Come on, y'all, get off.
That's the other thing on my back page. Juwan was about to give Turgeon them hands.
Southside?
I want to hear that.
Hey, I'm a Southsider. I'm a Southsider.
I'm a Southsider too, yeah. I'm a Southsider too, bro.
You know what I'm saying? 45th state over here, man. 45th state.
Wow.
But man, when he bro. When Turgeon came over doing the whole little hand, I was like, oh, okay. This is then when Howard pumped up on him, he started, he slugged back behind his players and his assistants, like, I don't want no smoke. You know what I mean? Can somebody get this man away from me? You know what I mean? But Juwan was finna put them paws on him.
He gonna put the paws on him. And he just mad because Juwan going in there taking them kids out the DMV.
Yep.
Every time he see that big fella in the middle wearing that one on, he thinking I should have recruited him.
And it's funny how the talent changes, man. When we first started this, Chicago was the hotbed, and now the DMV is just running it, man. The DMV. I mean, they got all the talent. Women, men, they got all the talent out there, man.
And DMV been balling. Michael Beasley, Kevin Durant, they've been having.
But them guys had matured, and now they got numbers, right? They had a couple of stars, but now they got numbers, right? When you get that critical mass, back then Chicago had AD, D Wade was popping. We had D Rose, all those dudes, and then you had a bunch of other cats sprinkled in. But now, boy, we ain't got it no more.
Man, and when you watch Maryland play, you see all they take. She built that program. She built that program like the Canes.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically drawing a circle around that area and try to get as much talent as she can get out of it. So the DMV, I'm changing my whole game on that. That is happening, and I'm glad we get a few of those folks coming over to Ann Arbor for Juwan to do what he got to do. But he's about to put them paws on him. And I think he forgot who he was talking to. And he went behind on player. That would be on mine. I think I was going to hit with you on my back page was really, what happened with the women. As a niece going in, I know you Marques, you got one of your players at Penn State. We spent a lot of time. I watch a lot of women's basketball. I was watching games. I just enjoy watching the game. And to think about the fact that they had to go through all that, go down to San Antonio and not have the support. And these are college presidents. Like at the end of the day, I remember having a discussion with a faculty member, a good friend I'm gonna bring up that Marques, and had a debate with him. And I said, at the end of the day, this is the fault of the faculty. And they said, well, what do you mean? I said, this is the fault of the faculty because the route to chancellorship and to Mark Emmert's position is through the faculty. That's faculty talking to faculty. Nobody moves without them okaying it. If none of them play without them okaying it. Nobody moves without them okaying it. If the chancellors don't okay it, at the end of the day, when they want a willpower, they willpower. And when they want to just sit back and be in the cut, they let you cut. There's no way in the world they should have been mapping out an experience like that and not thought about all the things that these athletes need to be successful in that environment. Somebody should have been fired right on the spot with that. That right there. The response should have been 3 or 4 people got fired. Because you cannot do that. You putting people's at jeopardy. You're not giving the right resources, right support. That part just can't happen. So I'm glad it was brought up. And I'm thinking, I have someone down there. I have a family member down there. But you get to know a lot of these other players when you go to the games and families, and you see how much people spend and invest in the development of these young folks. And then the NCAA can't invest the same thing. It's ridiculous. So I'm glad that we bring that up. Y'all back pages are tight, but we're going to take it right to the cipher. And see, before we talk about this, Marques, I need to, for the people who are new to RSG, the old timers know this. Help people frame why we're going to get into the can't trust it, but frame how that started and why we talk about the can't trust it. We need you to bring it to the people.
For sure. So the whole concept of the can't trust it, obviously it's the PE song Public Enemy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, do the knowledge. I set up the plate, but you got to do the dishes. Check out Public Enemy, Can't Trust It, the song. But the whole premise of the idea is that there are certain teams in the NCAA that coaches, whether it be coaches or just programs in general, that you cannot trust. And when it comes to bracket season, March, I call it basketball Christmas, where you just wall-to-wall hoops. You're filling out your bracket. You're trying to get that bread. You're trying to win the cash. You're trying to get the money. You're trying to get that paper with that paper. You feel me? You're trying to get it done. There's certain folks you just can't put your trust in, man. You just can't trust them. You just can't trust them. And so, we started doing our brackets and breaking down our brackets back in the day when in the inception of the show, we had our bracket show and we're going region by region and we're talking about these teams and we're talking about our brackets. And, after a while, we just started being like, yeah, Villanova, can't trust it. And this is for the national championship. Right? They work some stuff out. You can get off the can't trust it list, just like you can get put on it if you wasn't on it. All right. So they didn't got off it. Who else was can't trust it certified?
What we argued about, different perspective with Roy Williams.
Yes.
We argued about him.
Yep.
Phil rolled hard for him. We argued about him a lot of not being on that can't trust it list.
Yes. Virginia's still on my can't trust it list.
Yes, Virginia.
Hey, I picked that Ohio game. I saw what Ohio did to the Illini, and I was like, yeah, they're going to get Virginia. Yeah, I was like, they're going to get Virginia. Yeah, man. Georgetown, my Hoyas, they stay on the can't trust it list. They just can't get consistent. Hopefully Pat can turn them around, but they's on the can't trust it list for a minute too. Anybody can get it. If my Hoyas can be on there, then anybody can get it. So we don't discriminate. We don't play favorites. We don't do homerisms.
Yes.
So that's the can't trust it list. It's just programs, teams that when you expect them to go far, when they're high seeded, right, they disappoint you. They underperform and they don't produce. Can't trust it.
And at the end of the day, somebody done lost their house trying to mess with them. Done lost their car payments trying to mess with them. Plenty of people have lost something trying to mess with these teams. And so we'll get to that. We're going to get to that at 4. But first, I just want to talk about the highlights of the first weekend. Like, this was literally March Madness. And so I just want to get y'all opening perspective of what we watched this weekend. Hammer, what was it like? I know we're going back. Our text message group is, Marques, we got to get you in this text message group with us. Hammer,
throw me in there.
So we got to get you in on that one. Our text message group, but Hammer, I know you got a lot to say about this weekend. And don't lean on your line now. I know.
I picked Loyola. So, but no, it's not about that. What I was really impressed about D. Wells was I just love the defense. I just the game is just amazing as far as the defense. And these coaches are coaching these kids up defensively. And so you look at the pro game, it's night and day. And really I was just enjoying just the fundamentals of basketball the whole weekend, and really just and comparing that to the pro game, I just said to myself, pro game got to step it up. They got two great athletes to be playing the poor defense they're playing, and these kids ain't gonna see the NBA, and they playing their butts off and playing great defense, equalizing and making it so that all these underdogs won this weekend. So that's what I saw, and I enjoyed it. Every single game,
Young. What's your general highlights of this?
Well, my bracket was looking good at first, but then it went downhill fast. So like it was an overall depressing experience, man. I picked Oklahoma State to go far. They failed me. Texas Tech, I picked them to go to Elite 8. My man missed the left-handed layup to tie it. I was just sick, man. But to go at Carl's point about defense in the NBA, I think a lot of the things that you're seeing isn't necessarily the defense in being poor in the NBA. I think it's the skill level. There's a skill difference in the NBA than there is in college. Not everybody, the spacing is different in NBA and college because not everybody can shoot. Even in the bad teams in the NBA, you have 4s that can shoot. Some teams have 5s that can shoot. And in some of these college teams, you might have one player that can shoot, so I can help off this guy. You know what I'm saying? The court begins to shrink. And the defense it's easier to play defense when you have to cover less ground. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot, more defensively contested games in the college.
Great point. Yeah, it's a great point.
One of the things I think, and I think you put out there that's a really interesting point. But I think one of the things is that I like about this weekend. It just reminds us of how, regardless of what we just said about Emory and folks like that, you can't break this thing. Like it has a built-in entertainment, and it says something about like it creates new stars and new characters. Like it's television, and people come out, and it's like it reminds you that ballers come from anywhere, right? It's like, people who play know that. Like, you walk on the court and you see something, if you play a pickup, like, that ballers come, but they remind you in this setting that ballers can come from anywhere. Just because you didn't know nothing about them don't mean they can't ball. And I think that piece is like something that I love. It's like I learned about somebody new. I'm like, this kid got game. Whether or not he play in the league or not, for this segment right now, he got game. Lights is on him, and he ain't shrinking to the lights at all. He playing and performing. That's what I love about this weekend. Game changer. What are some of your observations?
A couple of things. The college game is evolving.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to some of Hammer's points, and Darnell kind of hit on it too. When you're talking about pro versus college, like at the professional level, you have, as somebody who made their bones as a high school and college player as a defender, there was only so much I could do. If you guard somebody, they always say great offense beats great defense, and that's true, right? So in the league, you got great offense. Okay, you got the greatest offensive players on the planet, and I don't care how good a defense you can play, you can't put your hands on them cats, you ain't guarding them. All right, this ain't the 90s where you can hand check and move them around a little bit. Yep. You can't even do that nowadays. So you think about trying to just play defense with straight up moving your feet and shadow boxing with a cat, man, you cooked. I don't care how good you think you are defensively. What I will say about the college game is at a point where, with the development of the NBA G League and the G League Ignite and the pathway, a lot of kids looking at different options as far as going to college for that 1 year they got to do in between high school and the pros. A lot of some top end talent is not in this tournament, right? You got your Jalen Greens and your Jonathan Kumingas, guys like that who aren't in this tournament. And what that has done is it has created an opportunity for some of these other programs who have been bubbling up. Like Loyola been ranked. I was telling you, Loyola's been ranked all year. Like they've been ranked top 25 all year. So the other thing is the selection committee. They effed us all.
Yes, they did.
I don't know if it was COVID or what, but they totally messed up the seeding process. And maybe it's because they weren't comparing apples to apples all the time. And so I think there were some teams like Oregon that have a lot of talent and maybe didn't have the greatest of resume, but they maybe had some stops and starts. And, once you get into that cycle of stopping and starting, it disjoints your practice schedule. And so you may not look as good once you get into that groove, right? And so I think that played a big part in what we're seeing right now. But I think overall, over time, we're going to start to see more tournaments that look like this, where you have these, because we're going to see some of the top end talent that can carry you through a game elsewhere, right? So this has been a great tournament, but I think even in this tournament, we haven't had those wild, crazy one-man wrecking crew performances that sometimes we get when we have a Steph Curry in a tournament who's just lighting everybody up. We haven't really had that in this particular tournament. And so I think that has played a part in it. And I think we're going to continue to see some of that happening as the kind of college basketball continues to grow. And they got this new thing out, man. It's called the transfer portal.
That is it.
So there's a whole element to this, and I think we're seeing some of that play out where you got grad transfers. You got the Badgers got a roster that will be like, the 25th oldest team in the NBA. You know what I mean? And so you have very veteran teams, and next year I think is going to be even more interesting because you're going to have the double freshman class. So you're going to have two classes of freshmen basically next year. Plus you're going to have like the super seniors who are still hanging around. So it is going to create a very different dynamic and a level of depth next year that, I think it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out. But I think with the transfers and the moving around, you got guys who are at these mid-majors who are at D1s, who are at, Power Fives, who are now at these mid-majors who could play at a Power Five. They just wasn't in the right situation. They took a step back, and now those teams are coming up. But you got some guys who are at these Power Fives who are mid-major dudes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, just because a guy's at a Power Five doesn't mean he's been a Power Five the whole time, right? And so he may have on a Virginia jersey or a Kansas jersey, but, he might have been at, Winthrop, the last 3 years. He may have balled there, but now he's up a level, so to speak. And that may look different once you get into the tournament. He's going against guys he used to go against. And they're like, man, I used to cook, dude. Let's get it. You know what I mean? And the other thing, the whole idea that the mid-major should be afraid of the high major. These kids been playing together for forever.
Yeah.
Right? Through AAU, they're not intimidated by these dudes. Yeah. This ain't back in the day where the mid-majors were off in the corner and they never saw the Power Five kids. You know what I mean? Or they looked up to the Power Five kids. Man, they've been going against these dudes since 7th, 8th grade. You know what I mean? Traveling around the country. So that whole mystification of the Power Five is not there. And so these mid-majors is like, let's get it.
Oh, they're looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Because they were this. They were this. I mean, John Morant played with Zion Williams. You know what I'm saying? So,
I was listening to this podcast. I think, CJ McCollum, he was on Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes' podcast. He was just talking about it. He was like, the year after Lehigh made their run when they beat Duke and Austin Rivers, he was saying next year, I want to play Purdue. I want to play like all these schools that passed up on me. I want you to put them on the schedule. And Matt Painter, famously, Painter said, we'll play y'all after CJ graduates.
It'd be like that. It'd be like that. He ain't finna light me up.
I'm gonna get you going. One thing, a point I want to, Marques, that you made about the G League. One of the things I did notice about this, because there's one decision to go to G League for the ability to do some development and early entry pathway to pros, but you can't beat the exposure you get when you. Cave got a lot of exposure. Now he got knocked out, but there's exposure in this game that I think folks are not putting a value on. Because the G League guys are performing, but you only on SportsCenter. These cats is this. I want to get your opinion on that part of it, because that really became something that's evident. I know, Darnell, you've been following some of these kids as well, but Marques, I'd love to get your feedback on that decision.
There is nothing. There is nothing, and I think this is where the pandemic came into play, because there wasn't a tournament last year, and I think it impacted some of those young guys in this particular classes. Perspective on what they should do for this year, and also just the murkiness of whether or not there was going to be a season and that kind of stuff. But overall, there's no marketing opportunity like the tournament. My wife knows who Cade Cunningham is because of watching the Big 12 tournament and she had Oklahoma State going pretty far because on the strength of Cade, right? Jalen Suggs is totally his stock is gonna shoot through the roof. Evan Mobley with USC winning, his stock is going to go through the roof, and people are going to continue to know who he is. Where this is going to benefit those young men is that first shoe contract is going to be a couple mil larger than Jalen Green and Kuminga and those guys. That's where it's going to help them, because they are going to be known commodities, and there is no marketing that can beat what the NCAA tournament offers you as far as like building your brand and becoming a household name. You just can't beat it. The G League pathway is great for getting prepared for what you're going to be actually doing, because the games are different. The college game, and Darnell hit on this perfectly, the college game and the pro game are two different sports. They're both basketball, but they're two different versions of basketball, right? The college game, you got two people standing in the paint, right at the blocks, all in the way. You know what I mean? You ain't got a guard. It's three people on the court that you ain't got a guard outside of 15 feet. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, that's a whole different game. And, when I watch college, I'm watching for who are going to be the pros, who are pros out on this court. The program, you got to shoot. It's a different game. You got to be able to shoot. You got four guys on the court who can shoot at all times. And if you don't, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Your offense is not going to work. right? If you don't have guys who can shoot on the court, you are going to struggle mightily in the NBA. And so that's what I want as a basketball guy. I want guys who can play basketball. My Dwight Howard rant.
Yep.
You know that brother didn't know how to play basketball. Great athlete, tremendous physical tools. He don't know how to play no basketball though. What basketball skills he had? Can't dribble, can't pass, can't shoot. I mean, I know sixth graders that I wouldn't take a sixth grader who couldn't do that. Why do I want him? You know what I mean? Other than the fact that he's 6'11" and can jump out of the gym. So the G League is offering guys that, but there is nothing. I mean, it's a different game, and it may not necessarily, and you see it all the time with like guys who are in the pros right now, like any dude from Kentucky from the last 10 years, right? Who is at Kentucky, looks trash, goes to the league and is like, oh, he could play a little bit. Why he didn't do that at Kentucky? Because it's two different games.
That's like Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just two different games. Donovan
Yep.
Emmanuel quickly, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey, Devin Booker. I mean, like you could run off a list of dudes, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, you know what I mean, who in college they looked all right. They got to the league and they looked better. So it's a different game. And if you can still kind of function in that environment and still play well, the tournament is the ultimate marketing machine. It is just the ultimate marketing machine. It's nothing better.
Wow. We hitting it. So I gotta go to hammer on this one. The Big Ten folded like wet noodles, man. That's as my brother Steve would say, they folded like wet noodles. What say you, man? You would hit me up. What's going on with the Big Ten, man?
A big fraud. So I mean, we've got Big Ten's got a great contract, Big Ten Network, and just great marketing, and got a lot of teams in the tourney, but they didn't perform. It's really sad to see. And I knew Illinois would get schooled because they can't trust it. Brad Underwood's definitely on my can't trust him list. Every place he's gone, got in trouble. Stephen F. Austin, vacated win. Oklahoma State, big bribes. Illinois losing to Loyola Chicago, who couldn't walk on Illinois. So, and then Purdue folded. Michigan State just wasn't the same. So it just wasn't. Wisconsin, I mean, they won their first game, but we talk about shooting. I mean, North Carolina's one of the worst shooting teams in the country. Remember we talking about they're a great offensive rebounding team? Yeah, you can't shoot. And you got some big yes. Of course you're gonna be an offensive rebounding team. I mean, that's just basketball 101. So it's sad to see because it's wild. I'm a Stanford alum, and it's sad to see, but Pac-10 getting in. I mean, Colorado the only team that lost so far. So yeah, it's just they hoodwinked, and also Gamechanger talk about branding. Yeah, when you got the game for the tournament with Jim Nance and Raftery and Grant Hill, and you doing the big game for the tournament, which is the Big Ten. I mean, that's your brand. That's going to be the game before before the Selection Sunday. And so, but yeah, it's an absolute embarrassment. People can't believe Wisconsin won the first round game, but they have veterans. We talked about oldest team, older than the Bulls. So it's crazy start lineup. So yeah, so that's the main thing about it. But I'm not gonna tell you I told you so, but I just knew about Loyola was gonna beat Illinois because I didn't trust Illinois all year. Just didn't trust. Kofi got it in, but Brother Numu, he was terrible. So and then I don't trust Brad Underwood. Like I said, if I see him across the court and I'm another coach in a big game, I'm gonna beat him. Because I'm gonna beat him. Unless he's bribed somebody or done something illegal, then I'm gonna beat him. Plain and simple. So yeah, so that's where I'm at.
And I would say I saw the Illinois team as he was building it in Maui, and I liked them. They played really good D. I said they got to figure out how to score. And over the past couple of years, they start to score. And I thought they had the makeup you need to get through the tournament. Up until this point, you can win games when you don't shoot well because they rebound, they defend, they get out and run. They can do it ugly. They just ran into a team that didn't care. I mean, I think that was a legitimate matchup. I think the team was not seeded. I think Loyola Chicago, as Gamechanger said, was seeded in a way they should have seen them at that point. Those kids played, and again, they weren't scared, and they had a big that was pretty active. It was interesting because I'd never seen Kofi actually get muscled around. Like he was muscling, like he was like Debo throughout the entire Big Ten. Like he was straight up muscling cats. And they started getting shooting to come in. So I was a little surprised they lost that early. The way they lost, because I saw him, I saw how he was building his team. I felt like they had enough to make the run and get through those bad games that they could probably have. But you're right, man. It's totally disappointing. He definitely gonna show up on. I'm not gonna get him on the list this year because he just got him out into that top 5. Now if he come back next year and pull that, then we'll get to the list. Which I think
Josh might get rid of him now, man, because that's the one thing going in Champaign right now until Bielema turns him around. But yeah.
Bielema,
don't wait on that.
Bielema done hired. I'm gonna get him on the air. Bielema done hired. I'll say this. I put back to Marques' point. Bielema hired. He got 2 coaches. He got one that looks at high school player development. He got a college development person that's looking at the portal. He done brought some Belichickian stuff up.
You got to. I mean, a lot of coaches have, a lot of college staffs have somebody that's just doing transfer recruiting, man. It's wild now. It is wild.
It's wild up in this. I listen to him. I'm like, oh, Brett, you got to pick up the phone. We got to hear what you got to say down there. All right, Darnell, Big Ten, man. You over there, Spartied out.
Oh, yeah.
Outstate out, whatever you got going on there.
I know that with Michigan State. They have.
Oh, no.
They have the 2 biggest. Well, their holes are 2, in my opinion, 2 of the most important things in basketball. Got to have a guard and a big. They're the 2 staples of the team. And Bingham, I like Bingham when he plays, but sometimes he gets in the doghouse. So Tom Izzo just pulls him. So and when he's out the game, they don't have a big, and they don't have the guard. They don't have a facilitator.
No.
Hogard, he has the skill set of a facilitator. He can grow into that role, but he's not ready to be the leader right now. And we saw that, especially when Rocket watches in at the point guard, they don't have anybody that can make plays for other people. Everybody's trying to ISO, and pretty much it's can Aaron Henry beat his man, and that's just not a good way to go when you're playing against a good defensive team and you have that playoff intensity.
Yeah, in Iowa, I expected Iowa they look like their football team. They impress, but they just don't finish. The basketball program a lot like the football team. Ferentz has been 7-4, 8-3, and everybody say he's the best thing about to go to the NFL than anybody else. But he just never win a big game. And the basketball program is the same way. They lift it, but they always find a way to exit early in the Big Ten tournament or do something crazy, and then they get a decent seed and they mess. So Iowa, we'll talk about them in a minute. All right, Marques, your thoughts of the Big Ten.
Big Ten. Here's the deal. All right, I was talking to one of my friends about this because he was saying how like the big man in college basketball was coming back, and I was like, well, what do you think is making that happen? Right. And so that's a whole nother side conversation. But the reason I want to point that out is a lot of the Big Ten teams feature traditional bigs. Yeah. And the thing about when you get into the tournament with traditional bigs is that you are predictable because that guy can only do certain things. He can pick and roll. He can post up offensively. Right. So you become predictable on offense because there's only certain places he can be where you have to even pay attention to him. You got to pay attention to him when he's rolling, and you got to pay attention to him when he's posting up. Other than that, that guy can float. Whoever is assigned to him can float. And, if that guy's more than 15 feet away from the basket, you don't really have to be mindful of what he is doing or where he is, right? And what happens is you get in the tournament and you go against some of these mid-majors that don't have that, and they're playing a more modern game where their bigs can step out and shoot, where their bigs can do a little bit more handling the ball, moving the ball. They're able to make adjustments in unpredictable ways where when you got it's the same problem with the Bucks when they play Lopez. It's like all you can do is play drop coverage on the pick and roll, right? You can't switch. You ain't switching Lopez onto nobody, right? You become predictable. And once you become predictable, you cooked from a coaching perspective. And when you get into those tournament games where you got 2 days of prep, if that, right? And then within the game, you're going against somebody you don't see that often. And so you don't know that coach really well and what adjustments he's going to make. Those adjustments can catch you off guard, catch your kids off guard. And before you know it, it's an 8-0 run before you even figured out what they were doing. And now that's the game.
Yeah.
Unless you can make another counter and adjust, and your counters are limited. Why? Because you got a Garza, you got a Kofi Coburn, you got, the big kid at Purdue. You know what I'm saying? You got these.
He's a family friend, Travion.
Yeah, you got these big men who can roll to the basket out of a pick and roll, and they can post up. And that's really all they're giving you offensively. And even defensively, if you get them in a pick and roll, all you can do is drop. Right?
Yeah.
You can, and that's the same problem with Virginia when they get into the tournament, is they like to hard hedge everything, right?
Yeah.
And teams that know how to attack that hard hedge eat them up, but they can't switch.
Yeah.
And it's about adjustments once you get in the tournament. And so the versatility, if you don't have versatile bigs who can allow you to make the adjustments that you need to make to beat a team, then you're in trouble. And that's what I saw with the Big Ten, is that they just didn't have the teams that were vulnerable, were the teams with the bigs. And again, when y'all going against each other, it looks great, right? When Coburn and Garza are going against each other, that looks like it's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? When Garza's beating up Potter and the other big stiff at Wisconsin, when he beat him up, he looked great.
And Reaver should be able to step out. He's not even stepping out.
Right, but that's also why Wisconsin was able to get North Carolina, because North Carolina got some, they got some Davis brother types from back in the Indiana Pacers days. You know what I mean? They got them big Dale Davis, Antonio Davis types, but you can't really do too much with a player who doesn't have a ton of skills like that, other than being big. And so it limits your coaching. And when you get in the tournament situation, and it is about those small adjustments that you make to what you do, I just felt like the Big Ten coaches were handcuffed by their own personnel and their own identities about who they were going to be. Because again, you're pretty predictable. You're going to have to keep doing the same thing. I still got a bunch of family in Chicago, and they was blowing up my phone talking about the Illini can't cover the pick and roll. Duh. You look at Kobe Kerwin feet, man.
He can't move.
He ain't moving. You put that man in the pick and roll, he toast. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why he won't play in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you can't defend, right? You can't play. You can't have that big man out there like that. So I think that's just, it's about matchups and it's about adjustments when you get into the tournament. And if your personnel limits your ability to adjust, you're at a disadvantage. And the Big Ten,
that's why the team that probably stressed me or was probably the worst was Ohio State, because I thought they had a little bit more versatility in their team than showed. They just didn't play.
Missing one of their best players, though, D. Walzer, right?
What you say?
They were missing one of their best players, right?
But the team they had on the floor could play. I mean, they shouldn't have lost. Even if you look at the last play down the stretch, and this goes back to it, when you got the other thing that they mistake is when somebody is small, they small. Don't fade, shoot over them. So if you look at the final play of the regulation, and this is one of the negatives of these kids watching the NBA. Watch it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch real NBA players, they know who's in front of them. They'll go and they might go and then step back to create space, but they don't do that if the guy's shorter. They shoot over them.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that final play of the Ohio State game, all he had to do was go down and just pull up and shoot over him.
Yeah.
Now you all you need is a 2 to win.
Yeah.
It's decision making down the stretch in situations like that. But they had enough to win to keep going forward in that game. There were times it's like, don't y'all realize y'all bigger than these cats? Just shoot over them. Like, don't make it more difficult than it is. And a number of times I watched teams this weekend who didn't realize you bigger than them. Just turn and shoot. Even watching Wisconsin, sometimes I'm like, just turn around and shoot. Like, just turn around, look at the basket, and shoot, and keep shooting until they get in your face. But don't jump. Just turn and shoot. Like, sometimes we make it more difficult than it is. And I'm like, what are we doing? The team that went through Michigan is reason why they went through is they got a little versatility. They can put John forward if they need a space with a big. So he got a little more. He don't have to get stuck if he's figuring out how to play without his big on the floor, and he got a big who can space. So it's something that you have to do. But at the end of the day, you also got to have kids that know who's in front of you. The person's in front of you. If they're gonna be small, beat them up. It's one of those things. But you watch these kids. Sometimes they fade. I'm like, why are you fading away on somebody who's 6 inches shorter than you? Turn and shoot over them. And it's just one of those things that drive me crazy. And the Big Ten does it all the time. So now that we here, we don't got riled up for the can't trust it right now. We taking this thing home right now because I wanted to say it, but I couldn't believe it. Marques, we're gonna leave you for last. on this. We'll leave you for last because as the originator, we're gonna start here. We're gonna start with Hamp because I know Hamp has been ready for this one since I don't know when. He don't put it up on the text. I don't got about 9,000 text messages from him. So I'm gonna start with Hamp and then go to Darnell. I'm gonna hit mine and then we're gonna land with Marques. And Marques, when we land with you, because you here, we're gonna let you do the Can't Trust It. And then we're gonna do the mulligan, but then we also gonna have you drop the mic since Hank isn't here because you're the guest. We're gonna have you do the final say. So I'm kind of giving you a little bit of, and I know you can see. The other thing people don't know is in his younger day he was the MC. So coming off top of the dome, he'll be okay with that. We just drop the beat and let him go do what he needs to do. But we're gonna start with the Can't Trust It. Hampton, I know you've been waiting for this. Go on, Hamp. I'm gonna give you.
I already said Underwood. And I'll tell you why. Stephen F. Austin, vacated wins, Oklahoma State bribes that he couldn't see. He's not Stevie Wonder. So and then you got Boynton and the fact that Oklahoma State should have been on probation, but they weren't because they had Kate Cunningham. So yeah, and then he lost against a Loyola team that should no way should beat him, but he gets that totally outcoached. Then definitely Shaka Smart. Really can't trust this. You gonna lose to Abilene Christian? These are cats that, like I said, wouldn't be holding towels in Texas. But this kid's bald. David talked about as far as the talent goes. You play good defense, you can equalize the talent, even with a Texas. But Shaka's just been a disappointment. I mean, he's Fitchburg, he's one of our homeboys from here, but he's deeply in trouble. I mean, his seat ain't hot; it's burning right now. And then finally,
how many coaches you gonna put on the Can't Trust It list?
D. Will said the pre-production. He said 3, so I'm gonna put 3. He said 3. So and then I got Rick Barnes. I got Rick Barnes because Rick Barnes lost to Oregon State. I mean, got fired been all over everywhere. Never won the big game. Had KD, great recruiter, but just can't win the big game. And I wasn't surprised at all. Wayne Tinkle and them got in, won the tournament in the Pac-10. They slept on them. They beat them to beat the SEC. So yeah, those are my Can't Trust It three coaches. So.
All right, Darnell.
All right, so he took one of mine, which is Shaka. I don't got to go too far into this, but Texas seems like every time I think they're gonna make a run at it, it always goes wrong. And number 2, they didn't make the tournament this year. It's Sean Miller. I got to put it in there because it's evergreen. Every time I expect Arizona to do something, I always rock with Arizona. Everybody knows I got franchised in Arizona. My dad played baseball at Arizona. My cousin played football at Arizona. So I'm red and blue.
The Arizona thing go all the way back to Lute Olson, the whole program. Like we can go back 2 coaches, can't we? A couple coaches on Arizona. I hate to tell you that Arizona is on an all-time Can't Trust It list.
OG Can't Trust It.
I mean, they got a who's who that didn't win. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Bibby one though.
And number 3 is Virginia for all the reasons.
Yes.
Marques already said. Because the defense, everybody knows what you're gonna do. They had a pack line defense. Everybody has been. They already had the time to pick it apart and to know what adjustments you have to make to it. So it seems like, especially in these moments in the playoffs, teams can exploit them, and they usually play solid defense, but usually they don't seem to have the level of athletes that some other teams do. So if they run into a team with like an Illinois or something like that, I seem like they would be at a disadvantage. But they, Marques said earlier, I picked Ohio to beat Virginia. So I saw it coming.
And even when we talk about their defense, I think that what kills them most is their offensive philosophy compared with some of the players they have. Even when they had those good teams, they had guys who could score, but it's almost like he put chains on them. He don't even want them to score. So when they get down by 10, he's got folks who could play faster. It feels like they should play much more like Texas Tech played. Texas Tech plays that same type of defense, but they can score with a little bit more power. And it just seems like he coaching like he coaching at Wisconsin with players who actually can play a little bit more athletically, right? When I look at that team, I'm like, they got a little bit more athletes, but they don't play like that. Virginia's just, they all on it, man, for all reasons.
Yeah, that's a good point. Basketball is a game of runs, and if you have a team that can't come back, like if I can't play, if I don't have a lead, then I'm in trouble.
Yeah, especially today, you got to be able to play because the game is just playing too wide open. You can't control it like you used to be able to control it back in. All right. For me, I'm just going to add this one in because y'all said it. Matt Painter. I've been saying it forever. Purdue. I mean, look, first of all, how do they get all the 7'3" people? Like, do they have you ever seen a Purdue team without at least 7 foot? I'm not saying 7 foot, 7'3". Like,
yeah.
How did they just get? Do they get a subscription to 7'3" people? But
because Matt Harms up there went to BYU, so I didn't even know he was at BYU. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, how do they all end up in West Lafayette? But they always underperform. And so I would say, I'm just going to say Purdue, but I'm going to say Matt Painter specifically as well. And then Iowa. I'm just going to say Iowa because Iowa football. I'm just going to say Iowa. They tease you. They got the player of the year candidate, and he actually can shoot from the outside. Like, he's a big who just needs to play in the post.
36. He had 36 points.
He can actually shoot. He can shoot from the outside. He'll cross you over. So you can space with him. And I'm thinking, and you got shooters. How y'all just going? I mean, y'all should play a little bit better than that when you got a guy like that who can't nobody handle. Meaning, like, they can't just defend him because you can put him on multiple places on the floor. You don't just have to put him down on the block. Like Marques, he's the one guy you can put anywhere.
McCaffrey can't coach.
Huh?
McCaffrey can't coach.
Yeah, man. But he can get thrown out of a game. I bet.
Yeah, he clown. He clown.
He'll clown.
I saw him get thrown out at a Kohl Center. He was
Wisconsin. We saw. I was right by it.
Yeah, I was right there too. Yeah, he was cutting up clowning.
Yeah, I was sitting in my advisor, Dr. Jackson's seat. I was like, doing this, and before I knew, he got thrown out. I'm like, okay, he didn't. So he know how to get thrown out of a game, but he don't know how to win nothing win the big game. So I'm just gonna put those two out there, and then I'll say this, and I love him because I just had a chance to interview him. I actually got to like him and love him, and he's won. But Bill Self from Kansas. Kansas is another one of them programs.
OG.
Arizona.
They got crushed.
That has destroyed the economy.
Got crushed.
Because people like and I want to say there's a way that we like to brand Kansas. It's Americana. You know, if you talk, it's like when people talk about Notre Dame. It has this edge on it that cats in the streets don't buy into. But everybody talks about Kansas like it's this and that. And I love Bill Self. I'm gonna say this. I said it before I had a chance to meet him. I like him. This guy is cool, straightforward. But I'm like, he should be winning more. And it's like and not getting knocked out like he got knocked out, even in a pandemic. He should always have better athletes.
USC.
He should at least get to the Elite Eight. Final. He got to get a Final Four time, but you shouldn't be knocked out the way he got knocked out. So I put Kansas in there. I'll leave it. All right, we're gonna go to the game changer, the originator.
So you guys have hit a couple of people that I had. Bill Self in Kansas. It's Luther Vandross's S curl. It just don't quite turn over the way it should. It you know what he going for. It looked the part, but it just ain't
Luther
quite
dead.
right.
Luther dead, man. You ain't right.
And somebody said that joke before me, so it's all good. I think he was dead then too. But something about the curl just don't quite curl right. You know what I'm saying? That's Bill Self in Kansas. They always look the part. Like, it's a reason that, to me, Andrew Wiggins is the quintessential Kansas basketball player.
That's
like,
right.
To me, he represents everything about that program. Oozes talent, just looks the part, but it's like it just don't pop. It just don't pop. Who's that?
Kelly Oubre's in there too.
Right. It just looked the part, but it just don't pop. Like, those are the guys that represent Kansas to me. So Kansas is one. I love him to death. Like, this is somebody who, and you know this, D Wills. I'm
like, this gonna hurt.
I've patterned how I run my stuff after this dude, Shaka. Boy, you can't have enough long brothers out there at Texas, man, and still be losing, man. He got all them long, wiry, high jumping dudes out there, and they just can't get it, man. They just can't get it. And he was on the clock, man. And so that's another one where it's like anytime I think he's got a good squad, I'm like, okay, this is his year to break through. Right. This is his year where he's gonna have that run at Texas. And it just hasn't happened yet. So I gotta put him on a list. That's my dog.
BCU. Just say BCU had the Southern Gonzaga, but
yeah, man.
Yeah, he should stay at VCU. That's what I said.
Austin get fired. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And Richmond's a popping area, man, for black folks. So he should have stayed out there, man.
I hope brother Daryl Brazell can save him. We might send big brother Daryl save him.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah, I hope so, man. Because I root for him like no other coaches, man. That's one of the guys I root for in the coaching game for sure. Another one is the boy Tony Bennett, man. I just every time I just can't rock with Virginia. You put it on the head. They should be Wisconsin with better athletes, but it just don't work the way you think it will work.
Yeah.
So that's the one I got to add that nobody else said was your boy Huggy Bear. Your boy Huggy Bear. I can't rock with Huggy Bear, man. I can't rock with Huggy Bear.
Crazy, man. I saw him. I was like,
man, he looked like he finna save some fireworks.
Yeah, I know.
He got some fireworks in the back of the car.
What you eating, man? So I do that like, dang, man. West Virginia, man.
Yeah, we got to put West Virginia. We got to put Huggy in there.
West Virginia teams look like they're gonna be about something. It always winds up disappointing. What's the kid Culver? Man, look like a man child out there, man. I was telling my wife, she was like, "Why he ain't playing better in the game that they just lost?" I was like, "That's how he be." Like some games, like I think he could be a pro with off his physical tools, but he just don't show up enough. Like he got no motor. So it's like he's 6'10". He can get out and guard a little bit. Athletic. It's like, man, if you learn how to shoot, you got a shot at the league, but he just don't got the motor, man.
You just don't got it. You got to bring Huggy in there. You got to. I hate to put him in there, but when you look over his time period, you go.
I'm telling you,
Cincinnati,
you way back
to wait. He always back in there. Except for that run they made with Van Exel, and I was up there for the Final Four. I love that team too, but he hasn't been able to find it over there. So we got to put him in there. What happens if? Well, what happens if Florida State don't make it far enough?
Are you coming at Bunny Colvin? Don't come at Bunny Colvin. Don't come at Bunny Colvin. I don't know if you watched The Wire, but Leonard Hamilton looked like Bunny Colvin from The Wire.
Hamilton, and I love Leonard Hamilton. I absolutely love him. I'm glad he finally get recognition, but his team is loaded, and he got to make a run. Like this is one he got to make a run on, right?
Yeah.
And Florida State has been deep and loaded for a while.
Yes.
He can't get his guys to stay. Yeah, he can't get his guys to stay long enough for him to really work with them, but he gets those guys in there.
He gets those guys.
I'm not rolling with that one, man, because I'm not rolling with that one because I think Michigan and Florida State is a 50-50 fight. If they lose that game, I'm not going to say he on the can't trust his list because they didn't beat Michigan.
I feel you.
They're a deep team. They're going to be tough. They're a very long team. I think they can make the catches for Hunter Dickinson difficult. I think they're going to bother him in that way. But on the other side of the ball, I don't think Florida State has the shot creators to consistently get good looks against Michigan. I think Michigan is very tough for them. So that's not like a pick 'em game for them.
Listen, D, you being nice. You know the dude that's really on the can't trust it fence right now, about to go one way or the other is Mark Few. He can't get it done with this Gonzaga team.
Yeah,
he can't get it done with this Gonzaga team. Can't trust it.
And I was just about to bring that up. You read my mind, and I'm like, I had a chance.
You picked him when they had rules.
I love him. I watched them beat that Duke team in Maui. I love this guy. I love for all the reasons. I want him to win for the right reasons because he decided to stay. Because I always believe you can in basketball if you do it right.
Yes,
way you can build it.
Yes.
And coaches, if they thought about quality of life, he's my example of what I say when I ask people, how do you want to live?
Mm-hmm.
I can understand this. When I ask people how you want to live, he's my example because the reason why he stays is how he wants to live. he knows he loves coaching, but what's the context of how he likes coaching? He likes to get outdoors. He likes fishing. It's a balance of life that makes him a great coach. And he figured out how to make it all work. And I think there's a lot of other stuff. We're just talking about the thing with Shaka. I think sometimes coaches like Shaka will go learn because there are things happening in places like Texas that take up so much of your time, you can't coach the way you want to. It's so much craziness that you can't focus like you were focusing at VCU.
You gotta raise money all day.
And just a whole bunch of nonsense and stuff, fires you got to put out just because of how people act. And so versus when you have a situation like that. So I'm hoping Mark Few get, but you got to say, if Mark Few don't win it, then they the new Kansas. They the new Arizona.
Yeah.
Right. You got to be real about that. They the new Arizona, new Kansas.
He got to win this year, But I was in one of my shows, though, they said Gonzaga in the field. I still got to go to the field because too many things can happen in the tournament, man. They undefeated. Like I would take the L. Yeah.
But the thing about it is, when you watch them, they got too much versatility to lose.
Yes.
I agree.
This team,
he got too much versatility for him to lose.
If they lose, they're gonna beat themselves.
And the one thing he got is his point guard play football. He got is ready for the moment. He got a different kind of makeup. And so they got the right team to go and do it. He just got to do it. I want to root for him to do it because it speaks to, it should be a message to coaches, particularly to coach coach how you want to live. Be in place.
Don Munson. That could be Don Munson.
Back. Right. Don't chase stuff. What's that?
That could be Don Munson,
Yeah.
He went to Minnesota, got fired. Now he
got fired. Yep. You see, and he saw that. He's like, Few doing what he's gonna do. But you're right. If he don't win, he on it. He there. He gonna be in the middle of this whole thing if he don't do it.
But you got a great point, D. You got to go where you can grow and be cultivated and cultivate the kind of environment that you want to cultivate. Because it's a whole lot to that college game, man. It's a lot of levels to it. It's a lot of moving parts, and the more of those ancillary things that you can eliminate, the better off you're gonna be.
Spokane, that's the only game in town. That's the game in town. That's why you go there, because that is the mecca of basketball. You doing hoops. That's what you're doing there. You ain't getting distracted by, Steve Karskesian. You ain't getting distracted by the baseball, coaches in Texas.
Yep.
You are, you the thing in Gonzaga. And so they got wins. You're right. They can't trust them.
And one
I don't think they gotta win it. They gotta get to the final.
They gotta win.
Yeah.
They gotta get to the final four.
You know how it is. Ain't nobody remember that the San Francisco 49ers lost the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yep.
Come on now. You gotta win it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody.
They gotta get to the finals at least. This is a team you expect to be in the finals.
Ain't no silver medals, man. No.
If they have gone to the finals and lost to, say, like Illinois or something like that, people would have probably said, okay, we could see that, right? But with Illinois and all these teams out the field, it even puts the pressure up even more.
They still got to deal with Baylor, though.
Baylor, I think they can deal with because they got the versatility to roll with Baylor, and then they can punish Baylor. But they got that versatility to roll with Baylor. And again, remember Baylor's small. See, the team that reminds people that Baylor is somewhat still small and punishes people, you got to be able to let them know that. But I like Baylor. But Baylor gonna be on that list pretty soon. They've had a lot of good teams. Now we're gonna talk about right now, but the women's side. Now we do have a discussion about the schools that got both the women's and men's program. Baylor don't come up on both sides.
Oh yeah,
Baylor women play. Ooh, they no joke. Like when you're talking about basketball schools between the men, like it's gotta be fun to watch basketball at Baylor. They balling on both sides of the game, and they coming to get there. The Baylor women coming to get there.
Oh yeah,
the man gonna do this. The Baylor women
Kim Mulkey. I remember seeing her play.
Oh, Kim Mulkey ain't playing around. She coming to get her.
She was balling.
Yeah. She ain't gonna be on the can't trust it list.
No, never.
She refused.
Certified.
She refused to be on that list. Her and Don refused to be on that list. If we put on a list, we might get a call from them. Nah, I ain't gonna talk about them. I ain't even putting them on that list. We'll get a call from them right away. All right, y'all got a mulligan right now. We all took a beat. Everybody on through they
took a beating. So I didn't take a mulligan.
Except for Hammer.
Okay, except for Hammer. I got my butt whipped.
Oh my goodness. I should have let Phil T pick. But you remember that one year where Phil picked that one year, and you were like, what? And we knew we was in trouble. We weren't going to have any top 3 spots. Phil was going to fall right to the bottom. But Hammer holding us down on the RSG Tourney Challenge. So he's about the only one going to keep on to hold on to this sheet. But you got a mulligan. Y'all got a mulligan. Looking at the field right now, what would you change about your, what would your Final Four going to be? Who you think going to be in the championship? Who you think going to win? I'm going to go around. You get a mulligan. You get to look at it again. I'm giving you a second chance. I think in this, the company we're working with, I might even be able to do one from the Sweet 16 in. I might have to check that. I might do that anyway. But Hammer, since you probably close, you probably gonna change yours too much anyway. But
I ain't changing mine, man. Everything I'm in, every small pool I'm in, I got most projected points. So Gonzaga, Michigan, and people talk about Michigan. Michigan gonna get the Final Four. Talk about livers being out there, and then Houston's my team, and then Baylor. So I got Gonzaga, Baylor, and Gonzaga taking the chip. So that's what I got. Yeah. So, but I don't know. Houston concerned me. They didn't play that great the other night, but they still won. My man Kelvin Sampson got it in. Show no cause. Sampson got it in, but that's okay. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, all right. Darnell, who I'm giving you a mulligan.
For the final,
for the Final Four.
All my Final Four teams are alive except for Oklahoma State. So if I can replace Oklahoma State, which I would have to, I'll go with Houston. And that's it.
Okay. So who would you have in the championship?
Let me look. It would be Baylor and Gonzaga. With Gonzaga winning.
Okay.
Who's your team in Michigan's?
It's Michigan. I have Gonzaga.
Oh, so we had the same Final Four. Okay.
Baylor and
that's the first time we agree on something like in 2 years. Because we can get that Tristan Wirfs, Andrew Thomas argument. We gotta get that going on. That's okay.
You're gonna hang on to that for the rest of your life. Hey,
who got a chip and who got a chip and who got chopped? Come on. Who got a chip? Who got chopped?
I gotta talk about this because I have a philosophy and I stick to it. You're gonna be right sometimes. You're gonna be wrong sometimes. But you.
I like that, Darnell. I like that.
Yeah, but just like Andrew,
you gotta be flexible. You gotta be flexible, young man. You gotta be flexible. You'll learn that. Hey, you gotta be flexible, brother.
Just like Tristan was on that championship team. You know what's on that championship team too? Winfield Jr. He's a 5'9" safety. He's not your type of guy, but he was a he was a major contributor.
No, but I give him credit because
he got Gamechanger. You getting in? So even though you haven't been in football, Darnell was put together. This cat knows. We don't have to put together his big board.
Yeah, he bad.
With a big board.
You gotta give me my chance.
They gonna debate. They don't put together their boards.
Okay,
coming along.
I like that.
I know you don't watch it, but you got to watch that just to watch the entertainment.
Oh yeah. I love talent evaluation. I love talent evaluation.
This cat right here Darnell can break some film and some football down on some stuff. But Hammer trying to come into his space, and to have these two cats arguing over some offensive alignment is the funniest thing you ever. That stuff is hilarious.
Love it.
So we're gonna be doing the show on that coming in. So Marques, who I'm giving you a mulligan.
So right now I got 2 of my Final Four left, Baylor and Gonzaga. I had Texas, and then I think in the other one I had Illinois in my Final Four. So those 2 teams I got to replace. I'm going to go with Michigan, and then I'm going to go with Loyola. I think they can beat Houston. I think they can take the next game, and I think they're going to beat Houston if they play Houston. I think that could definitely happen. So if I got to pick between those 2 teams, I feel like Loyola is the strongest of those 2 teams, honestly.
I got to change mine. I thought about that.
Yeah.
I ain't changing.
My bad hurt.
Yep. Jerome got the hip.
Jerome's hurt. Yeah, he hurt.
What about Buddy Boeheim? Balling.
Listen, man. Man, Boeheim is a rehab and can't trust it coach.
Yes.
But I trust him when he like 10 or lower.
That's true. That's true. When he's a low seed, he messes you up. But see, that's the other kind of can't trust it coach that's really out there. That's how toxic he is. Is that when you don't pick him, he go far.
As soon as I saw he was 11, I picked him for about 3 rounds. I said, this is why he about to make this run.
Yeah.
Right now.
So I still got Baylor and Gonzaga in the championship with Gonzaga winning. But I would go Michigan, and then I would go Loyola coming out the Midwest. My Midwest bracket is horrible, man. It's like
Mine's great, bro.
It's like Lori Harvey's relationships, all exes.
You should call me for your picks. I know I can convince you, but I might have been able to. We'll see. We would reconnect to that and be like, yeah, Hammer's tell the truth. I'll go with him.
Okay.
I'll go with Loyola. You should call me beforehand, man, because all these cats are like, yeah, right, Hammer.
Yeah, I like Loyola. I just didn't think they was gonna beat Illinois, but I was wrong.
Hey, we was all wrong about that. For me, yeah, I got on my best pool. I got 3. I got Zags, Michigan, and I got Houston. I guess I got to go. I like Baylor. A team that makes me nervous in this one, I watched them play the other night, is Alabama. I could get my head out of my thing about being a football team, but that guy Oates, he coached at Ramos High School, and Grant Lawn played. I think he also coached at Whitewater, didn't he?
He's a Whitewater alum.
Yeah, so or he was at White. So that cat got those boys. I mean, they put a barrage on them. Cats was clowning on threes and playing. I just know that don't last against really, really good teams, because sometimes you start missing and then that stuff ain't going. But them kids don't they miss it. That's the one team that can make you nervous a little bit in the field.
Whip Samuelson coat on too.
Yeah, I think Baylor. It might be Baylor, Houston. I can see Houston not getting there, but I got Houston there. I can see Baylor, and then Gonzaga, Michigan. If Livers is back for that game against the Zags, it's going to be
coming back.
Coming back. I still think if Wagner play, that game could be interesting. They need one more guy to do his thing. That game could be interesting, because by that time, Juwan's in his mix, and he got them bench. He got that bench. That'll be interesting. But I like them Zags. It'll be Zags against. I'll go with Baylor with the Zags winning. I think the Zags gonna pull it out. All right, we're gonna drop the mic. We're gonna let our man Marques. It was just been a pleasure, man, have you in here. We got to bring you back into this space. I know we got to use you as a specialist now, because we want you winning these championships and taking over Wisconsin.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate the chance to come back.
Do that, but we got to bring you in, and we're gonna let you have the last word and drop the mic for us.
All right. So NCAA tournaments going on right now. We didn't get one last year. Despite all of the inequities that have gone on between the women's and the men's tournaments, I do want to say this is, as a basketball fan, the best time of year. We should all just enjoy it, sit back, take it in. I think Thursday is the only day this week where there isn't going to be basketball on your TV, college basketball on your TV. There'll be some NBA basketball on your TV probably on Thursday night. So just sit back and enjoy it. Take it all in. Indulge in the stories and the narratives that come with it all, from the Sister Jeans to, Dawn Staley and the South Carolina women, all of the different stories that are going to evolve and grow out of this tournament. Just enjoy it. These are young people who have given and persevered through one of the most historic events, in our lifetimes, playing a game, entertaining us, giving us something that has allowed us to persevere through this. So just, respect what they're doing, enjoy it, take it in, have fun with it, and then let's pay them next year. So that's my mic drop.